what do the basic mathematical operations, the ones you can perform with a slide ruler, like multiplication, division, powers, and root, have to do with the evolution of human consciousness? Well, it turns out they can be applied to how our souls evolve and learn karmic or subconscious lessons. First, there is upward movement, which leads to integration, ascension, unity, source, and potential. Then there's downward movement, which leads to fragmentation, descent, embodiment in a physical sense, individuation, and a expenditure of kinetic energy. This can be viewed as the z-axis within multidimensional space. Next, there is the variant or horizontal axis, the divergence of expression, parallel selves of choice. This is the x and y plane where timelines, different variations, karma, and soul contracts play out. Product is the soul, the merging or union. The merging of two entities, two souls, creates a unified field or being. This happens in a sacred union, a twin flame, harmonization, or higher order oversoul integration. The product is always greater than or equal to the parts. This is alchemical synergy. When two fragments unify consciously, their merged state is the product of their vibrational coherence. You can think of this as the harmony you hear in two notes in a song. When you multiply two numbers, you're not just adding them. You're combining their inherent frequencies and values into something greater, a more complex chord. Sometimes this interaction creates consonance or harmony, and other times it creates dissonance or tension, depending on the frequency of the relationships. Think of the lore to Lord of the Rings. So if it's a karmic lesson, it'll create dissonance, or complementary, it will create amplification. Now, a quotient, division, happens on large and small scales. On a large scale, this can be viewed as the soul splitting or fragmenting. And the oversoul will divide into different aspects or fragments or avatars across different timelines or dimensions. Now, each quotient represents a different expression or learning path or karmic thread that this oversoul is learning, that we experience as individuals. This process of individuation or incarnation into separate lives is a quotient or division operation. The one becomes many, with each fragment carrying a part of the original source frequency, or higher selves. This is what people think when they hear about how there's an infinite number of realities. And then there's probably some insert lovesick picture of a teenager saying, at least that means there's a universe where we're happy together. Again, no judgment or anything, because we've all been there. But also, if you've had this exact same thought about a past partner or something because you want to get back together, I'm going to advise you, don't have that thought. So how this works is, at some point, you were brought into each other's realities, you manifested each other, because you were a vibrational match on a subconscious level. And then at some point, one or both of you learned a karmic lesson about why you subconsciously take certain actions and do the things you do. And then you end up falling out of love. And This could happen because the other partner hasn't faced this shadow aspect of themselves and they're not willing to. This creates disharmony and naturally an end of the relationship. But on a smaller individual scale, this fragmentation can happen when a core need that we have, so let's say safety, belonging, love, is not met, and then we adapt to survive, creating a mask or a persona. We then shapeshift to get external validation, and then you start identifying with that persona as who you truly are, which leads to fragmentation on a soul level. This is why some people say that your soul can fragment and it will end up looking like a Swiss cheese. Now, power is the ascension of the soul. It's the amplification when a soul raises its vibration or consciousness. It becomes a higher power of itself. This is exponential, like moving from 3D to 5D, or stepping into divine selfhood or authentic expression of self. You quit stopping yourself from truly expressing all aspects of yourself, both the good and the bad, which is ultimately subjective. It's not just more of the same, it's a higher order of embodiment. You're not adding light, you're radiating it as you move closer to your original source. Now, root, the descent, is the return to essence. Finding the core essence beneath your layers of ego, persona, time, and fragmentation. This is shadow work or soul retrieval. It's you filling the holes in the Swiss cheese of your soul. It's ancestral healing and embodying root operations. For example, if you constantly make fun of someone at the expense of others and feel the need to express yourself in a domineering way, it could come from a deeply rooted subconscious sense of insecurity. So perhaps when this person or you, whoever, was a child, they didn't have anyone to provide that sense of security for themselves. And so they learn, I have to rely on myself. And so they start projecting it onto other people to keep themselves safe. And they learn that they're the only people they can rely on. And so this stunts their empathy. In essence, we're extracting truth from complexity, stripping away distortions of the persona to reach our true frequency. Rooting down is what makes ascending sustainable. It's grounding. It's the spiral path home. So to give an example, you are a being of consciousness. And when you incarnate, let's say your oversoul splits into 4 parallel versions of yourself and you're learning different things. You're performing a quotient operation or division, your higher self splitting its consciousness by descending into a lower dimension or a higher density reality, resulting in spiritual amnesia, where we identify with the persona as the self. And when those selves begin to integrate and unify, you're performing a product operation. You kept sacrificing parts of yourself to please other people because we subconsciously look for external validation to reinforce our sense of self-worth. Because this spiritual amnesia is causing us to identify with our personas as the actual self. And by doing so, we are forgetting our inherent divine state of perfection. The divine sees us as inherently perfect. Think of the song Through Heaven's Eyes from the Prince of Egypt. That's how the divine sees us. We are already perfect, but we also all have areas where we can improve upon, otherwise we wouldn't be here. And as we raise our frequency of awareness, our soul expansion, we become a power of our previous self. And as we go inward and downward into shadow, our subconscious, and memory to remember our essential root selves. So I hope you liked this video, and I hope it expanded your horizons. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and if you'd like to help me out, you can go head on over to my Patreon. I have a link in the description, and I've got posters that you can buy, and they're digital. It's got my insights into spirituality and whatnot, combining spirituality and science. I hope to see you guys in the next video.